First question. Thanks for doing this, by the way. It's really appreciated.
Oh, you're so welcome, Sean. It's lovely to speak to you again.
Yeah, it's always nice to see you. When did you first know that you wanted to be a performer?
I've always wanted to um, perform, sing, dance, and yeah. Apparently, as a child, my mum and dad couldn't stop me. I literally jumped out of a pram, dancing around, singing, and they couldn't stop me. Um, Apparently I just always did it to the point where my father founded a local rugby club and they had an annual match and a dinner dancing, and apparently I was only little, I don't know, and started to, and they passed a hat around so I could
Oh.
yeah, I could get a treat of a Coke. Yeah. So
But
yeah, so my poor mum, I mean, she definitely was the complete opposite of a dance mum. I had to beg, yeah, to go to lessons. So it started, from very very early age. Yeah, studied ballet, tap, modern, singing, drama,
mm,
music, and I was very lucky actually. I was the first girl to get awarded a council grant, arts
oh,
grant, a
well,
scholarship. And because I used to every night after school, all the other kids went to get the bus,
mm,
and I would walk up the hill and go to ballet and singing classes, and had to get the bus back, or my poor mum and have to come and get me. So I did that every day
mm.
because I always wanted to be in hot gossip or a rock star. And yeah, so I auditioned and I got into a famous school called Bush Davis
Mm,
Performing Arts School, which was second to the Royal Ballet School at the time. It was very, very hard to get in. I got in, but obviously it was so very expensive.
mm.
Mum couldn't pay. My dance and singing teachers, they wrote to the council, and so I had to do loads of auditions up against like a virtuoso violinist and a pianist, I
Mm.
believe, both boys. And believe it or not, yeah, they gave the grant to me, so I could do like 3 year military style training. Yeah, where I achieved so much and worked very very hard.
Mm. Well, you got the role in Starlight Express, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that's it really. You know, I knew that I wanted to be obviously being all round, and I said before I wanted to be in hot gossip for a rock star. Now, uh, Arlene Phillips is the choreographer and creator of Hot Gossip, who's a rock star to me anyway. Um, she choreographs and Starlight Express, and so I went up there
Mm.
um, um, to an open audition. And the other girls were laughing at me because I was practicing on a gravel car park in the ballet school on a pair of like child roller skates. And I think I might have not put down my right age, I can't remember, but I kind of pushed myself off the wall. There's about 1,000 other people, and I fell straight on my backside. And Arlene just saw me and said, "You get up," and called me to the front. But she saw my CV.
Mm.
And obviously from Bush Davis, it's a very famous, and she saw advanced ballet, tap, modern theme. And she just said, "Are you willing to work the hardest you've ever worked?" And I said, "I'm only here because of you." And yeah, so I was put in a military style boot camp, skating, well, yeah, lessons, like a soldier, because it was the first stadium tour of Japan and
Mm.
Australia, of Starlight Express. So it was, ice rinks were taken out, and these amazing, you know, um, sets were built with hydraulic, like
Mhm.
all lasers and all sorts, and it never been done before. So yeah, and I was the youngest ever cast member. So what an amazing opportunity it was for me.
Oh, amazing.
Um, at 17, 18 years old to be going around the world, and then I got a role in in the London West End production,
Hmm.
which was super. And actually, there's a new production of Starlight Express coming back in June.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, at the Wembley Troubadour Theatre, which I'm quite excited about. And of course, Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber and Dame Marlene Phillips are doing. So yeah, a bit really excited about that new production because it's a show, it's just been going on for so many years and people just
Mm,
love it because
mm.
it's really like a rock. It's like such a huge spectacle. It's got like, I don't know if you ever seen like Jeff Lynne's ELO shows. They used to have a spaceship.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bit like or you two or something. And of course we're all trained. You see,
Mm.
so we're racing, we're singing, we're dancing all at the same time, and it's quite dangerous. But it's so exciting. I miss my roller skates. Yeah.
How did that lead to the role with? Because you joined the group Enjoy, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah. After Starlight, I actually played Magenta as well in the Rocky Horror Show.
Oh, of course you
Uh,
did. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, which was another amazing show to do. Theatre toured that all around Italy and Europe, which was wonderful because all the audience, are literally, hardcore fans, and they all turn up dressed like they all turn up dressed as the characters, and it's a really interactive show. So I played Magenta, but I also played the usherette at the beginning,
Ah,
which Chrissy Hynde from Pretenders actually sang the original.
mm.
Um, you know, um, yeah, double feature. Yeah, and so I was dressed in a pink wig, a pink usherette, and I was selling slime and spiders and ice cream full of peaches, and doing the time warp in stilettos
Was it quite a
and a
physical
maid's outfit.
demanding? So how did you get the role in Enjoy, and how did that lead on to your music career?
Yeah, well, at that time, at 1988, Sean, there was basically kind of this underground revolution. I was in London, I was at the Apollo Victorian Starlight Express, and in all the Soho and the gay club scene, and all the different clubs, there, was this new kind of techno, Balearic, electronic kind of dance music sounds.
Hmm.
That was a lot was coming from Detroit and Chicago actually. And a lot of the gay communities and also Balearic, so Ibiza and Europe, and it kind of really changed everything because it was purely underground electronic music that just anyone could make themselves. Because at the time, I'm sure you'll know the advancement in the technology,
Hmm.
certainly of keyboards and synthesizers, and the way you could record, you
Yeah.
could set up, in your bedroom and literally make a track. And go, and press your own white label vinyl
Hmm.
and get it to the DJs, for Friday night, to play at Heaven, and
Hmm.
Oakenfold and Andrew Weatherall, Fabio Groove, Mr. C. I mean, Nicky Holloway, Diane Harrison, there are so many people that, Carl Cox, that are still our friends, and Orbital, the Chemical Brother, which are just our mates,
Hmm.
Mike Prickly and Justin Roberts, all these people. And it's like, and then suddenly, um, like Enjoy and the Prodigy, we were just mates, and
Mm.
going to clubs, and they were like, "Seth, you sing on the stage. Can you come and like sing on some of our tracks?" And then that kind of went really well, and then we ended up doing hundreds of like underground raves, M25 up and down, and in warehouses and fields, with 30,000 people, and it was really brilliant, and it really was, like punk, it was a real underground scene,
Yeah.
um, and it really was, propelled by the people. It was, and the start of new independent electronic labels, especially, which was absolutely fantastic.
Mm.
Obviously inspired by Kraftwerk and Gary Newman, and Simple
Mm.
Minds and Human League and things like this, well, certainly for us, but uh, it just had the fall to the floor, and it just it just opened up so many opportunities for anybody, the
Mm.
working class man, woman, kid, gay, gender, trans person, to just go, hey, do you know what? I'm gonna make my own music, I'm gonna make my own song in my bedroom. And
Mm.
that's just, that's absolutely brilliant. So it kind of broke the glass ceiling, of this, this kind of establishment of old boys school network. There's people, the suits we used to call them, sort of, which you kind of found basically a lot of them at the beginning. It's like, have you actually got a record collection? Or but that, almost, a lot of times they'd always say, "Oh, oh yeah, I was in a band." And I'm like, "Here we go." Yeah, but okay. Oh, feel that? I bet they were great. Yeah, yeah. So we're yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're gonna be a priority on your label, aren't we? It's that. And yeah, so it kind of opened up so many opportunities for everybody,
Mm.
to be able to produce their own music that they had such a passion for, but also to release it,
Mm.
and to also perform live, outside of the normal establishment kind of things,
Mm.
and look what came out of it, how many amazing groups and music,
Mm. Well, that led to you getting signed as a solo artist, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I got first I was signed at 19 to Warner Chappell Music Publishing, by John Rice, and he believed in me as a songwriter. As my very close friend Neil McClellan, who famously is now went on to be the Prodigy's producer, because I introduced him to Liam because I thought they got on well.
Mm.
But we were all just mates, and he helped me um, do my demos in the Strong Room Studios in Old Street, in in the East End, and we used to do all-nighters. And also, that I learnt my craft, but I also learnt all recording and engineering skills
Mm.
and production as well from him. So, as well as obviously working with Enjoy, and
Mm.
the Prodigy, I had a fantastic start. That learning, not just to sing, but to also record and learn, actual technical studio skills myself.
Yeah.
And lucky enough to have, these basic, sonic producer and engineer geniuses, who were, also just starting their careers,
Yeah.
that were helping me. So I then got signed as a solo artist with a big deal with Warner Brother Records, by Michael Rosenblatt and Rob Dickens.
How did you go about putting the band together? Did you have anyone in mind?
Excuse me?
Sorry, how did you go about putting the band together, and did you have anyone in mind? beforehand?
Yeah, well, I may have told you the story, but sometimes you have to do you learn and you do your skills, and you have to find out what you don't want to do. Yeah,
Mm,
to know what you do,
yeah.
and it was a big learning curve for me, and I just thought I have to be in a band, and the thing is, at the time I had this vision. And of course, everyone said, "Oh, it never worked. No one's ever done it before." To mix acid house, music as in electronica with guitars, but with a punky pop, with but anthemic as
Mm,
well, but
yeah.
still very fast and heavy. Um, uh, and it's actually really hard. It's really quite hard to do because a lot of the tracks are like 160 BPM, which is like as fast as the techno track. Um, so we didn't make it easy on ourselves. And obviously at the time as well, um, the mainstream around the world, radio to TV wouldn't play any strong female lead singer songwriter.
Yeah.
So luck should have it, we got the life-changing call from the head of RCA America
Mm,
Records, and because I just stormed into Deconstruction with records, which I knew from Enjoy days. And so I walked in there and I just said, right, you need to sign me, give me a
mm,
deal. I've
mm.
got this amazing band and we're going to sell millions of records and tour the world and everything. So you need to give me a deal. And they were like, right.
Mhm.
And they were like, as it, I can't swear, but it begins with F, in a Manchester accent, guitars on it. I said, It's the hit that it's got the lot."
Mm,
But I'm meeting Virgin and like EMI like at like, so I haven't got a deal or not. And they were like, "Oh no, don't go and meet them." Right, and they haven't heard any music because there isn't any. It's in my head at this point, right?
right.
Like, but I knew that they were the right label.
Mm,
So basically, they told me to come back in 2 or 3 weeks, um, so they could hear something. Because I said, "Oh, I'm not going to play you anything. Like you get a deal or no deal. Come to you out of respect first." Even though it's in my head. And so I was like, "Oh, I've got to find a band." And so luckily, obviously put the feelers out. Uh, because obviously the main thing is I had to get a song or some songs to play them,
mm,
and I needed obviously the sound people to help make the sound that I wanted to make with lyrics on. Um, and then it was like, "And do you want to be in my band? And this is what I want it to sound like. And are you up for it?" Sort of thing.
mm,
And yeah, so a friend suggested a guy called Tim Dorney, who was in a band called Flowered Up, who were, kind of the original London, version of Happy Mondays, and they were like on the acid house scene as well.
mm.
Yeah, went and met him and talked to him, and he was working with an engineer. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, that sounds good." I said, "Right, how quickly can you help me make a demo? And do you know guitarist?" Yeah, so I went back 2 or 3 weeks later with one techno track that was 8 minutes long, but as everyone knows, A&R men only listen to certain like 30 seconds. And yeah, and they said, "All right then." And so we got a deal signed, and then the head of RCA, then we got in a van and did loads of gigs like for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And any money we had, we bought like synthesizers and equipment, built a studio, and managed to write a few more songs. Um, yeah, and then we went to America, And the month we got there, um, MTV and K Rock and Modern Rock Radio had just playlisted No Doubt's like I'm Just Like a Girl,
Hmm.
and then Arthur and Garbage, and it was like a new wave,
Hmm.
Texas Cardigans, Skunk Nancy, um, and it was unbelievable because and it really helped with the MTV heavy rotation as well because
Hmm.
I hadn't. You don't realize until you get to such a large country, you know. The last tour we did was like 65 city dates, in
Yeah.
like literally all the states. But that's the one thing that connects as well as the radio. So if you can, connect audio with visual and an image
Hmm.
and obviously great song or great music, And luckily, I also had an image that I didn't realise people would, be able to recognise me with. Oh, the girl with red and black hair. So, yeah, so it was fantastic. So we actually broke in America first, and then we came back to England, and we worked with the wonderful producer Ben Gross out
Hmm.
there, which was super. And it was wonderful experience.
How would you compare the American audiences to the UK ones?
um, well, the thing is, for us, you have to remember, for us, we were a completely unknown British band with this, lead singer. Um, Mixed races, it's like who are these people? But the thing is, if you gig and work really hard, they it's not judged, but they make their own minds up by your live performances. It's more as is important, as any kind of press or style or which in England British is amazing because it's based on the music, the culture, the style, the fashion, amazing. But in America, because of the enormity of the country, different states,
Mm.
you could be traveling 10 hours and still be in Texas, you know in Dallas, so and also, many bands, they don't want to do that because it is very hard work. But we just knew, and the underdogs kind of thing, and
Yeah.
people just took to us, and they did really like it, and obviously over there, they did already have like an industrial kind of um electronic sound, 9 Inch Nails. I mean, Gary Newman was huge in America.
Mm.
Depeche Mode, Simple Minds. Um, so we kind of even though maybe not quite as heavy, so there was an audience that
Yeah.
was, yeah, and I guess, yeah, we had to prove ourselves every night.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, you had success pretty much straight away, didn't you? With the hits like "Ready to Go" and and it's still being played all over the place, isn't it? It's, every time you go to a sports stadium, it's still there, isn't
Yeah, we've been blessed, Sean, and
it?
no one, you know, you we often get all bands get artists, but nobody knows the life of a song. But for me, songs are immortal.
Hmm.
So they transcend whether they're a hit or not, because for every one that is a hit, there's a million that aren't, but they're still great songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that is the thing. If you can manage to, you know, uh, like tap in and fight your way, get in, your conduit or mentors to help you
Hmm.
distribute and get your music out there to people. Um, you know, it is the life of a song. I mean, it's over 30 years.
Hmm.
Both Ready to Go and Drop Dead Gorgeous. So, were number ones around the world, and they're still playing. And we're so lucky because also in the films and TV and sports,
Mm.
all over the world, you know, not just football. Like I went to the World Cup and Lionel Messi was behind me, and I like panicked, and it was in a stadium. And Sunderland AFC have played Ready to Go as their run on some now for over 27 years, which is super.
Mm.
Um, and the Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl, and they play, Chicago, but the New York Rangers. I thought, athletics. It's just super. Um, that it transcends us. So those fans, or you know, um, generations of families of season ticket holders, they might not know me or but that's their team song.
Mm.
And that what that means. Is yeah, it just is beyond just an honor. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
So how did you get offered the guitar performance? What happened there? Because
Yeah.
you
Well,
started sang the World Cup.
yeah. Well, it was extraordinary actually, because my friend Chesley Hawkes, um, who I just reconnected with now. Um, I when About the time of Starlight Express, I actually did have acted in quite a few films as well. That your job in actress, performer, dance, singer. And I did a few music videos. I was in Susie and the Banshees, Stargazer, Belinda Carlisle's La Luna. And they said, oh, there's an audition for this new artist. And it's to promote a film, British film called Buddy Song. It's an independent film, and Roger Daltrey from The Who. I went, oh no, I'm definitely going to that. And so I got it, and the artist was Chesley Hawkes, and it was the one and only.
Ah,
Which obviously then, obviously it was a massive hit. And so myself and the other lady in the video, was Lucy Alexander, who's a presenter of Homes Under the Hammer.
right.
And yeah, Ches is, yeah, he's a fantastic writer and performer. And
Mm.
yeah, him and his manager, just and actually FIFA and the World Cup wanted a strong female, and because Ready to Go is such a huge football anthem around the world, they'd
Mm.
actually play in all the stadiums. They'd worked out a playlist, and I actually, it brings wells me up that there were fans there that were sending me videos from other stadiums that, Ready to Go, was being played next to AC/DC and Queen,
Mm.
live in every stadium. So, you know, every team from all over the world, and that's a huge honour. And
Mm.
I just felt, yeah, I am going to go as a strong, you know, British female, even though I didn't quite realise I had to sing solo on a pitch in a yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was quite hard to hear. Um, and obviously Lionel Messi started to be on me, and I thought he looks familiar to me. Um, and just the fans, and it's beautiful. It's only 2 hours wide. It's a
Mm.
beautiful country.
Yeah.
It's the most diverse and equality. It is absolutely lovely. And I don't know what the problem is. And everyone's happy. And you know, I work with the head of FIFA, this very strong woman. I work with very independent Muslim women who were on the team. And we're all excited about my performance. They looked after me and were like, "Hey, do you want to come to the club tonight? See my Armin van Buren?" So I said, "Well, I better be like ready for tomorrow." Yeah, so that was, yeah, unbelievable. Yeah,
Excellent. Well, you told me the story before, obviously, but I'd like to hear it again if that's okay. The film Stream, you had Drop Dead Gorgeous, you did that.
yeah.
So tell us how you found out about
Yeah, well, we were on tour, Republica were on tour, a US tour, and I believe we were in Nashville, Tennessee, and we had an RCA records representative there who'd got these cool, and I could see he was kind of sweating, and he said, "Oh, Saffron, Saffron, I've got a very famous film director that wants to speak to you," and I was like, right. He went, "Where's Craven?" And all I just thought was Freddy Krueger. And I
Mm.
went, what, like Nightmare on Elm Street. I like, suspense and like psychological. I am not into like really like there's horror. And obviously, growing up as a child, Freddy Krueger is this very scary thing. And I'm like, well, why was he want to talk to me for?
Mm.
And they went, no, 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 please talk to him. And he was like, "Hi, Saffron." I was like, "Your song, Drop Dead Gorgeous. The lyrics are exactly the storyline to my new movie, Scream. Please, can I use it in my film?" I'm like, "What's the film about? What is it?" He said, "I'll send you a rough cut." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." He said, "But I would love it because it's exactly what's in my mind." And so I have, which I'm sure now, again, I didn't realize, like
Mm.
with musical songs, Wes Craven, he said, he was out, he was kind of pariahs,
Mm.
I'm like, I couldn't understand, in Hollywood, "Oh, you're so last minute." I'm like, yeah, but you created like one of the most, Freddy Krueger. Um, that it's that thing is writing a follow up.
Yeah.
But the great thing was, his Drop Dead Gorgeous was the follow up,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Saffron, you know how hard it is to top. How can I top Freddy Krueger?"
Mm.
And I'm like, and it dawned on me, and I'm like, "Well, Drop Dead Gorgeous is the follow up." And he went, "Will you please, please, will you do it?" And he sent me the rough cut, and I'm sure now, because it's so popular, like a lot of fans, I'm the
Mm.
only one, but it's like in the first 5 minutes, like Drew Barrymore gets hand drawn and quartered, and I'm like, I really like her. Um, but we agreed, I agreed obviously to do it. Um, it was on a very low budget. He had, basically beg, borrow, and steal to get the budget for it. But Republica were invited to the Hollywood premiere,
Mhm.
red carpet, and we played at the after show party, and we let all the cast and everything, and yeah, I mean, I don't like stabbing scenes so much, but I was in awe of because he'd inverted the Kruger character with the mask,
Mm.
and it's almost like Vader, and and I spoke of, but well, I have spoke to George Lucas, but
Mhm.
ha, it's how do you top that? Because at the time you don't realize you've created, this image of evil or a character that's so powerful and
Mm.
iconic to people. How
Yeah.
do you follow that? So I'm like, you know, and the thing was, it was the highest gross movie of in the world that year. And,
Mm.
and when I spoke to him, I just gave him a hug. I went, "You did it," and we were both like welling up. And he went, "Thank you." So I was like, "No, thank you very much." you know, and it was wonderful. And we met everyone, and David Lynch as well was there, and No Doubt, and Courtney Cox, and yeah, it was just super, and I was so happy for him. And obviously we were so humbled, to be involved in it, and look what came of it.
Mm.
And I did meet him again a few years later, and what an extraordinary man.
Mm.
So, it's that kind of Kubrick or Hitchcock, it's that kind of mad genius thing. But I guess all artists or writers, it's so the pressure, you
Mm,
know, of coming, following on for something, because you don't know if it's going to be successful or not, or if people are
yeah.
going to like it.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, just moving on a little bit. So during the pandemic, I mean, you worked as a nurse, didn't you, during that time?
Yeah, well, I actually retrained many years ago. I qualified as a mental health and social care officer, and yeah, so I am in the area of severe mental disorders and behaviours, and yeah, so yeah, I mean, obviously, we've all got our own experience of the pandemic, but obviously, for myself, suddenly on that day, my music, it was like my heart broke because all my music was taken away, and I ended up basically, in an astronaut suit, on the front line, as a critical key worker.
Hmm.
The letter from the government, so I could travel, and only car on the road,
Oh
in the
yeah.
dark, sort of thing, back and forth. Uh, 300, 400 hours a month, but looking after, caring, protecting the very most vulnerable individuals in our society. So yes, it was very hard. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't,
Hmm.
because it's that thing of the unknown, because none
Yeah.
of us actually really were actually told exactly how serious the issue was. And certainly, for every single key worker, healthcare in the NHS, doctors, nurses, ambulance, paramedic, social care departments, mental health, you know, um, ambulance crews,
Mm.
y- you know, train, supermarket, people that make sure we had food. Um, you know, I think now it's coming out.
Yeah.
We kind of did quite a good job.
Mm.
Under very extreme circumstances, and but I learned a lot about life, and
Mm.
about the small things, and I think I learnt more from the individuals. I think about the truth, because
Mm.
they're innocent, and they needed protection, and some are non-vocal, so I signed Makaton, so I could be their advocate and voice for the voiceless. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was an honour, and it's in the small things in life that are the most important. Sometimes, the tiniest gesture could mean the world to someone else.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's well, you do a lot of cat rescue things as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I rescue all animals, against all cruelty to animals. But it's my money and time. But I've been all around the world, everywhere. Yeah, because they're innocents too, and
Mm.
I have a very, very strong belief in. I don't know, yeah, partly because of my Chinese Eastern background heritage, that uh you know, and the balance of nature, the yin and yang, is that we've got so much to learn from animals, and it's especially say dogs or cats, or which is now in the modern world, obviously domesticated, but you know um they give their love,
Mm.
unconditionally, and you know, and they can really help people's mental health as well,
Mm.
and they add so much to people's lives, and I just think, a connection, with people, as well as
Mm.
animals, as well as that responsibility of having to look after them, because
Yeah.
all they need, all and they just give their love, is to be fed, walked, and have a roof, and then they
Mhm.
give love, and it's a one, and that's it. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a new single out, haven't you? Yeah, New York.
Yeah. So Republica released a new single, New York, on Armalite Industries, which has done incredibly well. And we're so, so happy. Playlisted it on over 101 radio stations and so many friends and Absolute and BBC Two and Radio 5, and Total Rock and just radio stations around the world. Um, have so supported us and come out and yeah, we're so privileged and thank all the fans as well so very much around the world for
Mm.
to continue to support a band at 30 years on, and wonderful video also made by our lovely friends at Media Brighton, Annalise and Ben Simon, using a lot of cutting edge AI technology. A very, very creative process. Also, many of our friends done remixes and versions, and so
Mm.
it's really, quite a lot of collaboration, which it is fantastic. I think that's really the way to go.
Was it fun filming the video? Because it was very sort of Blade Runner esque, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's so fun. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it looks amazing. But yeah, you wouldn't believe how many hours it takes to do green screen. And God bless Ben and Annalise. I mean, it literally second by second, like a 3D camera of and it was technology that it's basically kind of like film cinematography kind of quality, but with these new AI kind of tools as well. But to put me in that landscape as either myself or was I going to be metahuman? Was I going to be cyborg? I make it look realistic.
Mm.
That's the difficult bit. So I had to do loads and loads of green screen. I was on a travelator, and I did that whole TikTok thing where I went backwards and fell off and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what an amazing creation. So, yeah, very much looking forward to working with them again on the new single, Hallelujah, very soon. So, which will be lovely continuity.
Mm.
I think, for the band, for the new album, Damaged Gods, which is coming out in the spring as well, on vinyl, and there's different packages. So,
Mm.
fans can finally, buy stuff, which is great.
Perfect. Well, thanks for having this chat with us. It's always fun to talk to you, Saffron.
And you, Sean, thank you so much.
I'll let you know when it's out, and I'll send you a link.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks. You take care.
Yeah, take care, my love. Bye.
Bye
Thank you. Bye bye. Love to your cats as well.
bye. Thanks. You take care.